before we discuss ESG or SRI Sukuk in detail, it is important to understand why this topic has become increasingly relevant in today's investment landscape. Traditionally, investors mainly focus on financial return. However, nowadays, many investors also consider the impact of their investment on society and the environment, as issues such as climate change, social inequality, and corporate accountability gain more attention. Sustainable and ethical investment have become more popular worldwide. So this is where ESG and Islamic finance come together. ESG focuses on environmental, social, and governance factors, while Islamic finance promotes ethical practices, fairness, and social responsibility. Because both share similar values, ESG-based sukuk has emerged as an attractive investment option for both Muslim and non-Muslim investors. So before we moving further, let's briefly go through some key concepts. First, a bond is a debt instrument where investors lend money and receive interest payment. In contrast, a sukuk is a Sharia-compliant investment certificate that is backed by real assets and follow Islamic principle. ESG refers to environmental, social, and governance consideration, while SRI stands for sustainable and responsible investment. A green sukuk specifically finance projects that benefit the environment, such as renewable energy or sustainable infrastructure. Now, if we're looking at the timeline, Malaysia has played a significant role in developing ESG and SRI sukuk. In 2014, the Security Commission introduced the SRI sukuk framework, followed by the world's first green sukuk issuance by Tata Energy in 2017. Since then, ESG and sustainability-linked sukuk have continued to expand rapidly both in Malaysia and globally. With the background, let's move on to the next section where we will discuss the relationship between Islamic finance principle and sustainability.
Thank you, Shazana, for the introduction. Now, let's look up to the relationship between Islamic finance principle and sustainability. Firstly, one of the key relationships between Islamic finance and sustainability is through ethical exclusion, also known as sector screening. Islamic finance prohibits investment in industries that are considered harmful or unethical, such as gambling, alcohol, tobacco, and weapons manufacturing. This means that financial activities must not only generate profit, but also contribute positively to society. This principle closely aligns with sustainability and ESG objectives, which emphasize responsible business practices and the prevention of social and environmental harm. Another important connection between Islamic finance and sustainability is the prohibition of gharar and riba. Gharar refers to excessive uncertainty in financial transactions, while riba refers to interest. Islamic finance prohibits both because they can create unfairness and financial instability. Instead, financial transactions must be linked to real economic activities and tangible assets. Why does this matter for sustainability? This is because it will completely discourage volatile, speculative behavior that leads to market crashes. By forcing investment into real assets, we build a far more stable, resilient, and sustainable financial ecosystem that protects regular people from economic exploitation. Finally, Islamic finance is guided by the concept of maqasid al-Shari'ah, which refers to the objective of Islamic law. The main objectives are to protect faith, life, intellect, lineage, and wealth. If we look closely, these objectives share many similarities with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, which aim to improve the quality of life, reduce poverty, and protect resources of our future generation. Therefore, Maqasid al-Shari'ah provides a strong foundation for sustainable development by promoting social justice, economic well-being, and environmental responsibility.
Hi, let me tell you the key difference between the conventional bonds and sukuk, which are also known as Islamic bonds. First, in terms of nature, conventional bonds are loan-based instruments, whereas sukuk are based on the Sharia compliance contracts such as sale, lease, partnership, agency, or income-generating assets. Second, regarding the relationship between parties, conventional bonds create a creditor-debtor relationships. In contrast, sukuk establish an ownership or partnership relationship between investors and the underlying asset. Third, for the issuance process, conventional bonds only require approval from the Security Commission. However, sukuk must be approved by both the Security Commission and Sharia scholar to ensure compliance with Islamic principle. Fourth, in terms of the investor, conventional bond mainly attract conventional investors, while sukuk can be invested in by both the Muslim and the conventional investors. Finally, the return to investors. Conventional bondholder earn interest on loan, which contain riba, whereas sukuk holder receive profit, rental income, or return generated from the underlying asset. Therefore, sukuk provide a Sharia compliant alternative to conventional bond, while promoting ethical and asset financing. Another important difference is the use of fund. For conventional bonds, the fund raised may be used for any legal business activity. However, Sukuk required the fund to be invested in Sharia compliance and ethical project. This means Sukuk cannot be used to finance prohibited activities such as gambling, alcohol production, or other non-halal businesses.
Next, I will explain the key characteristics of ESG or SRI Sukuk and Green Sukuk. First is Sharia compliant financing. Both ESG or SRI Sukuk and Green Sukuk must follow Islamic finance principles. This means they avoid prohibited elements such as riba, which is interest, gharar or excessive uncertainty, and unethical activities. In simple words, the investment must be ethical and Islamic compliant. Second is proceeds used for eligible sustainable projects. This means the money raised cannot be used freely for any purpose. Instead, it must be allocated to approved sustainable or green projects. For example, ESG or SRI Sukuk may finance healthcare, education, affordable housing, or renewable energy, while Green Sukuk mainly focus on environmentally friendly projects such as solar energy, green buildings, or sustainable transport. Third characteristic of ESG, SRI, and Green Sukuk is transparency, disclosure, and reporting. Issuers must clearly explain how the funds are used and provide reports to ensure accountability. This helps investors know whether the money is actually being used for sustainable purpose. Fourth is monitoring and verification. Projects are monitored and sometimes independently verified to ensure they continue meeting sustainability objectives and reporting requirements. Although ESG or SRI Sukuk and Green Sukuk share many similar characteristics, there is one main difference, which is ESG or SRI Sukuk have a broader sustainability focus, which includes environmental, social, and governance factors, while Green Sukuk focus specifically on environmental sustainability only.
Now, I am going to explain the importance of Makasih al-Shariah in sustainable Islamic finance. To begin with, Makasih al-Shariah refers to the high objectives of Islamic law, which aim to protect human welfare and promote justice in society. It serves as the ethical foundation of Islamic finance and guides financial activities towards creating positive impacts. So, what are the importance of Makasih al-Shariah to sustain Islamic finance? First, Makasih al-Shariah promotes social welfare. It emphasizes creating benefits for society and improving people's quality of life through investment in areas such as healthcare, education, and community development. This is reflected in ESG and SRI Sukuk, which finance projects that support social well-being and contribute to inclusive economic growth. Second, Makasih al-Shariah protects the environment. Islam encourages the responsible use of natural resources and discourages activities that cause environmental damage. Therefore, sustainable Islamic finance supports environmentally friendly initiatives, and this can be seen in Green Sukuk, which are used to finance renewable energy projects, green building, and also other sustainable development. Third, Makasih al-Shariah ensures ethical and fair finance. It promotes fairness, transparency, and accountability in financial transactions while prohibiting harmful or unethical activities. This principle aligns closely with ESG and SRI frameworks, as both emphasize responsible investment practices and the ethical use of funds. Finally, Makasih al-Shariah supports long-term sustainability. It encourages a balance between financial returns and social and environmental responsibilities. By funding projects that create lasting positive impact, ESG or SRI Sukuk and Green Sukuk help to ensure that economic development benefits both present and future generations.
Moving on to our last discussion today is the examples of sectors or projects that finance through ESG or SRI Sukuk. The first one, the renewable energy sector, which is under environmental, social, and governance Sukuk. This sector focuses on producing clean energy from renewable sources such as solar power to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and carbon emission. An example is the Sustainable and Responsible Investment Sukuk Merbaha program by Saipat Repsanga Berhad. The Sukuk proceeds were used to finance 3 solar energy projects in Malaysia, including 2 floating solar systems and 1 ground-mounted solar system. These projects generate electricity from sunlight, which supports clean energy production and helps reduce greenhouse gas emission, contributing to environmental sustainability. Lastly is the green building development sector, which focuses on environmentally friendly buildings that reduce energy usage and environmental impact. A key example is the Merdeka Asian Green Sustainable and Responsible Investment Sukuk program issued by PNB Merdeka Ventures Sdn Bhd. The Sukuk was used to finance Merdeka 118 in Kuala Lumpur. The building includes energy efficient systems, sustainable materials, and green building technologies. Overall, this project shows how sustainable and responsible investment Sukuk supports sustainable infrastructure while promoting environmental responsibility and urban development. Next is the education and social development sector, which focuses on improving education quality, human capital, and social well-being. An example is the Yayasan Sustainable and Responsible Investment Sukuk issued by Khazanah Nasional Berhad. The funds were used for Yayasan Amir's Trust Schools program. The program aims to improve school leadership, teacher effectiveness, and student performance in Malaysian public schools by enhancing teaching methods and school management. This shows that sustainable and responsible investment Sukuk is not only for profit purposes, but also for creating positive social impact, especially in education and long-term human capital development.
In conclusion, ESG or SRI and Green Sukuk represent a powerful convergence between Islamic finance principle and the global push for sustainability. As we have discussed, Islamic finance naturally aligns with ESG objectives through its prohibition of riba and gharar, its ethical sector screening, and its foundation in Maqasid al-Sharia, which prioritize the protection of life, wealth, and the environment for future generations. Unlike conventional bonds, Sukuk is an asset-backed and Sharia compliant, making it more ethical and transparent instrument. When combined with ESG and SRI framework, it becomes a tool not just for financial return, but for positive impact as seen in a real-world example like Cypark's solar energy, Khazanah Instant SRI Sukuk for education, and the Merdeka 118 green building development. Ultimately, ESG or SRI Green Sukuk is not just a financial product, it is a commitment to build a more just, sustainable and responsible world. And that's all from us. Thank you.